when the news is fake and programming is what society's used to, when the truth comes out about all that's been done to me and how much the government has been involved, the local government in both my hometown and surrounding cities, and also about an hour removed from there, the town that I've lived in for the last 17 years. It's gonna really speak when the news isn't fake, just how much the spiritual forces are the ones that are bringing this to light, because it's nothing that the elite and the societies that have ruled under tyranny would allow to come to light. It's the news, it's the truth that's going to shake their system that I outrank, and they know it, and they've done so much to stop me since infancy, and I haven't set myself up to be some great person, but I have been chosen, and I accept the responsibility. I didn't know the level of protection that I have until recently. I would say in the last several months, increasingly so. There's no way by human measure that I should be alive, let alone alive and not living in fear. The things that have been done to me include being used as a sacrifice, as an infant, as a child. They tried to sacrifice me in what would be called satanic ritual abuse. But the thing is that many people who take part in such rituals don't even think of themselves as Satanist or Satan worshippers or devil worshippers. They simply use other humans to try to get the means that they want. So whether it's youthful vitality, riches, fame, maybe initiation into a elite society of some sort, or climbing those ranks, they're all connected. The Mennonites and Mormons the Mennonites, I know, are some of the highest of the elite society. And the Mennonites and the Mormons, Church of Christ, Baptists, and others, but the Mennonites and Mormons are being brought down. I would say Christianity as a whole is being brought down. I'm being used to bring those things down, but it's not me alone, and it's not by my own strength in of itself. I am here to be a leader, but it's more about demonstrating the truth of true spirituality. Because if we want to use biblical imagery, the devil has been hiding in the church. And I personally don't believe in Jesus or Satan in the way that the Bible portrays. I do believe I have a spirit similar to Christ. If Jesus was truly here on earth, I don't know that we can believe the things in the Bible, because the Bible is the book of the elites. It's a book of control. But regardless, I am here and I'm being used to shed light on secret knowledge that has allowed humanity to remain under oppression, and energy, or the vital force, the life force of people, masses of people, be harvested for other people who are in these secret societies and in these elite clubs, if you will. Often, not always, but often hiding under the guise of religion, in particular Christianity. The things concerning me in my life that will be coming to light will be nothing short of a miracle for that truth to be broadcast worldwide, and it will be. This will speak volumes to people who are already awake, and this will speak volumes to people who are not yet already awakened, but who have had eyes enough to see, like I had before my awakening when I was still Christian, who have had eyes to see programming in place, and not swallowed like every last bit, even though we really swallow more than we might think, because it's all we've known. But when people who maybe know not to just take everything that's broadcast on the news for face value. An example would be when COVID happened and everyone went to wearing masks. People who, like myself back then, I was a Christian then, but people who would question, like, are you kidding me? Like the whole world just within a matter of weeks went to covering their face and breathing in a much lesser quality air because of what, or being able to see through, let's say if someone who's black was shot supposedly by police, and it stirred a whole uproar and caused, which that would be bad if that had really happened. Being able to see past some of those kind of things that are especially racial things, where it's really just set up to kind of create hate, hate and animosity between the different shades of people. It's a ploy. It's a very often used ploy by our government to put people in states of fear and hatred, and then the government, the secret societies feed off of all that energy being spent for whatever the newest thing is. The world isn't used to really getting very much in the way of real news, and the things that will be coming to light about me in particular will be very eye-opening and really quite a miracle. And people who have eyes to see will realize that this has not happened to only me. And then more people will just start to have a greater understanding of how wicked and how in depth the societies that have ruled have done so under tyranny, with tyranny and oppression. And once people start to realize that and start to break free from allowing that to continue in their own life, there's going to be a mass awakening. Many, many, many will turn to true spirituality, which, if you're like I was, certain things can be a turnoff. Maybe there are a lot of atheists out there who even perhaps used to be Christians or some other religion, but they, were turned off by spirituality outside of religion because they saw maybe a lot of things that felt imposed, like maybe you have to be a certain way, you have to look a certain way, you have to practice certain things, a lot like religion, right? And some of those things were definitely turn-offs for me as well. Even now, I would say, looking at me or judging by what many popular spiritual type of teachers or people would, maybe say, whether they say it with their life or they say it with words or both. There's a lot of assumptions about, how someone would need to be for their life to be, quote, zen, or for them to be taken as some, let's say, new age spiritual teacher, right? There would need to be a certain look, a certain way. And here I am. I'm a high priestess, and I practice really very little of anything that looks like what I am. And I don't think that I should take up practices more so to try to fit the bar, if you will. That would really be ridiculous. So my point is, sometimes people are turned away from spirituality. That would be true. Because there's just a lot of assumptions and presumptions, and when I write some of my poetry, I might refer to just sage and candles. Those are just two very simple. There's nothing wrong with either of them, but I've lit a candle, but I've never burnt sage or bought any. I mean, I know I've had sage essential oil, but just more for, medicinal reasons. So I've been doing a lot of spiritual battling, a warrior really, without any of the, perimeters that would be at least popular. I've been alchemizing energy, like death energy sent to me by myriads of people, primarily through my poetry. Anyway, I just basically got the download as I was laying here. I'd already gone to sleep and woken back up. But there's going to be a huge worldwide awakening. Of course, it won't include everyone, but it's going to be, I almost would say, replacing what Christianity has been, but not just for a time. It's going to be like the beginning of a new world, really. a lot of freedom, reclaiming of each, their individual energy, our vitality, our life force, which is also our creative energy. A lot more self-expression. We really have been an oppressed people. This whole thing of, political parties and freedom in that way, it's all just a bunch of it's bullshit. Hitler is fictitious. He is the same person as Walt Disney. There are myriads of books and movies and so much propaganda to prop up this basically false narrative that runs so deep. And once you start to see just how deep, Lucille Ball is Queen Elizabeth II, it's one and the self-same. Marilyn Monroe is Jackie Kennedy. Jackie Kennedy was Marilyn Monroe. When you start to see some of these things, the magnitude of propaganda to control will become so clear that there won't be any refuting it. It's blatant. It's in your face. I used to be a fan of Tupac Shakur, and he supposedly died. And Biggie Small. But these people aren't dead. Tupac was, I saw personally on TV, he was dressed up as one of the Middle Eastern people that they would be interviewing back. This was quite a number of years ago. And under the on the bottom of the screen on the TV, it had Shakur. It didn't say Tupac Shakur, but it had a version of his name. They play in our face all the time. It's their style. As if, and really this is the way it has been, but as if the world is so asleep and so unaware of what they're doing that they can just be so obvious, because very few will ever pick up on it. Think of the ramifications of there really not being a Hitler and it all being fictitious, and that person is Walt Disney. Think of Jackie Kennedy and getting into political candidates and presidents. It's all just, think of her being Marilyn Monroe, which she is. That was just a persona. Bleached hair has been around for a lot longer than we might realize. Think of some of these ways that Biggie Smalls is alive. He had weight loss surgery, and he goes under the persona of Cedric the Entertainer. These are elites, and one thing that's going to come out is that pedophilia, child sacrifice, human sacrifice, all of it's human trafficking, which I was a recipient of, being used in this system. These people are pedophiles. These people who are stars, they're false stars. I'm a true star. But these people who are make a name for themselves, they do it off the backside of others. And they do it off of the downfall and backside and use of children and other people like myself who are not children anymore, but who have a strong life force, a big energy. They tried to sacrifice me over and over since infancy. My family is all part of this elite system. And I'm here to take it down. And I'm not doing this alone. I am so spiritually backed, and I don't even understand all of it, honestly. And I have asked for understanding. I do know that it is not the God of the Bible. It is not what I used to hold to. It is not those tenets. I say spirit, but it's spirits. It's not one. And really, I don't have to understand. I'm as high ranking as I am, and this story that is mine, my truth, is going to be used in such a magnitude, and the fact that I'm not, saying, oh, it's this and this, and this is how it is, and I know this and I know that. The fact that I will say, I'm not really sure. That alone speaks, because it does not have to fit this box that New Age spirituality, at least so far, has fit into. And, I'm not here to set trends, but I am a trendsetter. And I'm an old soul. I've been here before. I've always been very intuitive. I have all the clear giftings that have been oppressed most of my life. There's going to be an enormous great awakening. I know that term has been used in history before. So much of what we've been told is just propaganda. Just to even really sit with some of these things, like I said, Hitler is really Walt Disney. Just the magnitude of that kind of thing, if you really think about it. What was going on with the wars? The government is so corrupt. The United Nations flag shows more in line with what our Earth really is. There's only one true pole, which is the North Pole. South is really just a wall of ice, like a circle. The lands are closer together, which would make sense with when you're flying in an airplane. Some of the conjunctions, things are closer than what our modern day maps would show. And that's why they stop certain places for fueling. The United Nations flag shows more of a flat earth model, which I believe in fully. I am convinced of it and have been for years. It's not a conspiracy theory, it's a true conspiracy, as my story will show. But there has been a great conspiracy, and the nations have been United Nations. We've never sent an astronaut to the moon. It's all a farce. Blue screens, lots of money. There's just so many things, and they're each one really so hard-hitting if you really, if your eyes are open enough to see them for what they are. The magnitude of it will really start hitting you, and you will wake up and realize your life has been a mirage. And then you can break free from being controlled. And that's really what this is all about. True spirituality is just about learning to follow your intuition. That's our inner guidance system, it's our compass. And I don't say God because I have just come out of so much religious abuse, but whether you say God or spirit or the divine or however you say it, the way that the primary way that we are communicated with is in more like our thinking space, you know? These elites have been calling on dark entities, you know, if you want to say making a deal with the devil. It really is kind of like that. They've been using dark magic and human sacrifice to rule the world, and it is coming to an end.